So please help me welcoming our fabulous, fantastic
Oh, thank
big book
you.
teacher,
Thank you.
Colin G.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Danny. That's very kind of you. Thank you. I'm so glad to be here this morning. We are going to be talking this morning about the ninth step promises. And there are promises all through this book, from the title page all the way till the last of it. There's so many promises, but these are considered the promises that are most popular, the most well read. And we're going to talk about them this morning. We're going to go through them, and hopefully we're going to uncover some things about these promises that may help you in your quest to have them as part of your life and part of your recovery life, part of your life. We're on page 83, and we're going to start with if we are painstaking about this phase of our development. And usually, what I do is I'm going to take a couple of minutes just to bring us back to this point by talking about the ninth step. The ninth step and the fifth step are the great emancipators. An emancipator is someone that sets you free. And what are we being set free from? In the fifth step of our program, we start to learn, or we start to really absorb into our soul, that we are not alone, that the things we did, not just around food, but the stealing, the lying, in some cases, the cheating, in some cases, other things that we did to other people, we start to believe, because of our egos, we start to believe that these things were secret and unique unto us. And we find out that nothing is further from the truth. And when I was doing my fifth step, I didn't hold any girl's hand that was married to someone else. I didn't kiss anybody's wife. I didn't kiss anybody's girlfriend. I didn't do those things. I didn't have those kind of amends to make. I didn't have those kind of transgressions. What I did was I wrote a lot of bad checks. I didn't pay my bills, things like that. But the shame and I lied about just material things, but the guilt and the shame that I felt were trapping me and enslaving me. And I became very, very pressed with pain because of these things. I was afraid to see people. I was also an object of ridicule. When I would go in public, what would happen is children would point at me and say, "Mommy, why is that man so fat?" Or adults would come up to me and they would say, "Why are you not on a diet?" Why they would look and they'd see I'm buying this or I'm buying that at the grocery store. "Why are you buying that? You're so fat already. Why are you buying that?" Different things like that would happen to me. And it didn't happen to me once. It happened to me many, 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 many times. So I became afraid of people. I became very scared of the world that I was born into. And because of my character defects, I did a lot of things that hurt people. And when I did step 5, what happened was I started to realize that I am just a human being. And although I need to make amends for all these things, I'm not the only one that did things like this, because the people that listened to my fifth steps along the way of recovery said the two magic words that set me free. And they said, "Me too, me too, me too." So when you hear "me too," you start to realize, even though these things are bad and I wish I didn't do them, and thank God for step 9, it at least makes me feel like I'm just a human among humans, or if you prefer, the expression of choice in OA is, I am just another bozo on the bus. I'm not the only person that lied. I'm not the only person that wrote bad checks. I'm not the only person that was ashamed of who I was. And I used that as an excuse to do things that I'm not proud of today. but I'm just another bozo on the bus. And now I'm going to have an opportunity in step 9 to make those things right. And the three of the byproducts, not the three, but 3 of the byproducts of the steps are: you get right with God, you get right with yourself, and you get right with your fellow human beings. And in steps 8 and 9, 10 and 11 and 12 is a little different, but in 8 and 9, I get to be right with my fellow human beings by making amends to those people. We have a situation where the steps take us through, so we have a spiritual awakening as the result of these steps. And by making these amends, all of a sudden, I'm working my program. I'm abstinent all the way through. Now I'm not a circus freak. Now I'm not an object of ridicule. Now I'm in a relatively normal, healthy body. And although we all have different things, I have AFib and I have allergies, as you know, and I have a hip that's kind of giving me some problems. I'm very relatively healthy for a 71-year-old. I have an ejection fraction of my heart that's over 50. And if you know what I'm talking about, that's phenomenal. I'm 71 years old and my ejection fraction is over 50. My blood work is superb. My blood pressure is fabulous. I mean, there are a lot of things that could be going wrong that are not. And I am very, very lucky. And today I can go where there's people and be among people. And I don't have to think I'm going to be an object of ridicule. I don't have to think, oh my God, what if I see some children? Oh my God, what if I see some people that want to abuse me? And it doesn't happen. So I get right with God, I get right with myself, and I get right with my fellow human being. So what I have now is the gifts that the program offers. And this morning, what I'm going to do is we're going to go through these promises, and I'm going to share with you how these promises affect my life, and hopefully you can relate to what we're going through here. We're at the bottom of page 83. And 5 and 9, as I said, are the great emancipators, and these are the 9th step promises. If we are painstaking about this phase of our development. Now, let me stop right there because I want to focus in on the word painstaking, because I do not get these promises without an enormous amount of both hard work and ongoing work. One of the things that gets me cuckoo is people who say to me, I worked the steps, worked in the past tense. And they said, yeah, I worked the steps, but I still find it difficult to remain abstinent. And I've been eating for 1 year, 2 years, 25 years, whatever it is. We have to stop looking at the steps as a task that is worked and we're done. It's sort of like wash the floor. Okay, I washed the floor. Now I'm done washing the floor. But now when it gets dirty again, I'm going to wash the floor again. And if you own a home or you rent a home, whatever it is, doesn't matter. You have to shower every day. You have to wash the floor. You have to wash this. You have to wash your clothes. There's no such thing in our program as one and done. No matter what we do in this program, it is very, very detrimental to us to look at any task we do as one and done. We will continue to do this work for the rest of our lives. We will be working on our character defects. We will be working on inventories. Fears are going to come up. Anger is going to come up. Rejection is going to come up. The world is not going to stop just because we feel we've done enough work. Now let's just, keep the status quo, keep that homeostasis where things just don't change. That's not the world we're living in. Every day that I wake up, I get challenged to accept the world as it is. Every day that I wake up, I get challenged to accept the people of the world exactly as they are. So I have, and also myself, I have to continue to work my program. If we are painstaking about this phase of our development, we will be amazed before we are halfway through. Let's take a look at that, because I had an incredible amount of weight to lose. And I lost, just to put it in perspective for you, I lost 200 pounds. Think about that for just a minute. I lost 200 pounds. And I was still at that time a 500-pound man. I lost 300 pounds and I was still a 400-pound man. So I would go in public as a person who had lost an incredible amount of weight, more weight than I could ever have imagined that I was going to lose. And I was still an object of ridicule. I still didn't go on my first date with a girl for many years after that. My life was not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. It never will be. No one's is. But the rage that was inside me was, I'm doing all this work and I'm still getting crap from people in public about my weight. And it just didn't seem very fair to me that I had to endure this, even though I had worked so hard to lose all the weight that I had lost, because I was still morbidly obese. I was still an object of ridicule. I was still an object of criticism. And there were people that flat out didn't believe me. But let me tell you the upside of this. By the time I was halfway through, let's call it step 6. But since we're at step 9, let's call it step 4.5, 5, whatever it was. I started feeling like I was on the right track. And even though I was still a 500-pound person, when I lost 200 pounds, I physically felt better. I physically looked better to myself. I physically was fitting into clothes, yes, albeit they were an enormous size. They were an incredibly inhuman size, but I was fitting into clothes in a way I hadn't for a very, very long time. So I was amazed, and there were people close to me that could see that I was really trying. And it was the encouragement of these people that reminded me constantly of the love of God. Because oftentimes when God can't come, he sends people. And in my case, he sent all of you. In my case, he sent wonderful sponsors, wonderful recovered people, and he sent my friends that kept encouraging me. You're doing great. You're doing great. And even though the world looks at a 500-pound man as, not what they want, not acceptable, my friends were very aware of the changes in me, both my personality and my physicality. Now let's look at this next sentence here. Very important sentence. We are going to know a new freedom and a new happiness. Now this can get by you, but we're going to talk about something so it never has to get by you again. A new freedom. Freedom to me meant, hey, I had a good year. I had a good week. I made a lot of money. I have the freedom of not worrying about my bills. But my new freedom is the freedom from the horrible nightmare, guilt, shame, and remorse of the bad check I wrote yesterday, and they're going to cancel my auto insurance because I don't have the money to cover the bill. The new freedom is I don't have to live in this horrible shame of who saw me coming out of Dunkin' Donuts, who saw me coming out of McDonald's, who saw me coming out of Kentucky Fried Chicken. I don't have to live in that shame. I don't have to live with these things on my mind or in my soul or in my heart. The new freedom is not just the freedom of money or the freedom of, when I was a kid, I've told you this before in here. My father's friends used to tell me all the time, and they were not all, but most were concentration camp survivors. And even though they didn't say it together, they said it separately. They were saying the same thing. They would grab my face and they would say, I was 7, 6, 8, whatever I was. And they would say, live until you die. And I thought when I was 6, 7, 8, whatever, I thought live until you die meant amass all the candy you can get. Get the black cows, the milk duds, get the chunkies and all the different Reese's peanut butter cups. Get all that as much as you can, and that's living until you die. Well, that is so insane. It is the nut that I was. I was a young kid, but that's the disease talking. That's my disease talking. Because when I was 6, the best thing I could do was eat candy because it made me feel good for about 9 seconds. About 9 seconds, a chocolate bar would make me feel just fantastic. But a new freedom is I'm free not to do that. I'm free not to amass candy. I'm free to have people in my life like you who are listening to this podcast, whether you're here, whether you're listening on the recording, it doesn't matter. The people that are here, the people in my meetings, the people in my life that are precious to me, I have the freedom to love them and have you guys or love me back. That's freedom. I don't have to live under the pall, under the yoke, under the chain of the disease. I can live in the sunlight of the Spirit. And to me, that is everything. That is absolutely everything that I could have dreamed about. Is I didn't even know that this was one of the choices. I thought freedom was money. I thought freedom was sex. I thought freedom was whatever. But money and sex are great. I'm not denigrating them. But what I'm saying is there's more to freedom than money or sex. There is the freedom of the soul to rise above the disease with God holding us every step of the way. There is the freedom of rising above all of the manifestations of my ego, my defects of character. I just renewed my license plates here in Arizona. I didn't have to worry about covering the bill. I just clicked and and now they're renewed. I don't have to worry about it. Where God guides, God provides. And God has provided me with a life that includes abundance. Now, this God that I'm worshiping also provides me with the freedom to worship that God, to worship and to believe and to keep understanding that no matter how much I need God today, I'm going to need him more tomorrow. You've heard me mention this. I talked about this last night. There's an old 1960s rock song, and it's called I love you more today than yesterday, but not as much as tomorrow. I love God more today than I did yesterday, but not as much as I'm going to love him and need him tomorrow because the disease is progressing. I'm getting older. I need God more and more and more every day. And I have that freedom to believe that. I have that freedom to worship, and I have that freedom to know that I am not responsible for results. I don't have to outsmart the world. God has got my back. I don't have to figure everything out. I don't have to know everything. You want to hear freedom? I'll tell you freedom in 3 words that I can reply to anybody that asks me a question. I don't know. because I had to know everything in my disease. I had to know everything. The three beautiful words that I can say to anybody is, I don't know. And that is emancipation right there. Now, a new happiness. Wow. As I just got through saying, I thought happiness was having a beautiful girlfriend, or I thought happiness was having a lot of money, which I have money, but I'm not wealthy. I'm not opulently wealthy. But in my childhood, I don't know how this got started, probably out of anger. If I'm really honest with you, I have to admit this, and I hate to admit this. One of my greatest joys in life was the misery of other people. And one of my greatest miseries of life was the joy of other people. I wanted everybody to suffer. I wanted to be right. If I wasn't right, then F you. I'm right. You know, what are the three manifestations of ego? Make me right, make me feel good right now, and make me different from everybody else. And I thought that misery and misfortune and scarcity were only mine to be endured and to suffer from. And I saw the world around me where there were kids that came from beautiful homes that their parents owned, and they got trust funds, and they had inheritances, and they had money set aside for them. I wasn't from a family that had any of that. I didn't have any of that. And I was very jealous. I was very jealous of other people. I was jealous of the world around me because they were young and they were thin and they were good looking, and girls would flip their hair and laugh at their stupid jokes. Their jokes weren't that funny, but the girls were laughing hysterically. Here he said something, blah, blah, blah. I'm funnier than him. The girls didn't laugh at my jokes. Trust me on that one, they didn't. So I became very angry, very jealous. And my new happiness is I can root for you because I understand very well that your happiness does not detract from my happiness. Your abundance does not detract from my abundance. That I can see the world and I can see God as an abundance of resources, an abundance of love, an abundance of things that the world covets because I wanted those things. And if you had them, that in my mind meant I couldn't have them, that I was the butt of some cosmic joke. I wanted Rob and Laura Petrie for parents, and I got Max and Virginia Grabowski. Very different. Very, 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 very different. And I also found out that I can be happy no matter what, that my attitude is the result of a choice, that my attitude is not the result of money or the result of something happening that goes my way. You know, my team, the Cubs or the Bears or whoever, they don't have to win every game for me to be happy. Sometimes in a season, you got to lose a couple of games. Sometimes what's going to happen is, oh, I'm not going to get the girl. Oh, I'm not going to get that particular situation. You know what? I can still be happy because, as Abraham Lincoln said, most people are as happy, they're about as happy as they make up their minds to be. So in keeping with Abraham Lincoln's very true statement, I can always choose happiness. And one of the things that I specifically do to find new happiness is every day of my life, I do a gratitude list. And I try the best I can to change certain things up. Yes, I'm glad to be alive, and that's a constant. Yes, I'm glad I live in Arizona. That's a constant. Yes, I'm glad I'm part of OA. You know, I never thought I would ever say that. When people would get up to the meeting, get up to the front of the room, you know, when I was new in OA, we all sat theater style. There was no sitting in a circle. There was no, and you sat theater style no matter what meeting you went to. It was a person at the front, and then we would sit facing the front. And that's how we sat. And then what happened was over time, it kind of changed. But what I do is this gratitude list that makes me very grateful for OA. So I can come up to the front of the room and say, I'm a grateful compulsive overeater. When people would come up to the front of the room, the first years I was in OA, and they'd say, hi, I'm Charlie. Hi, I'm Mary. Hi, I'm Susie Lou. I'm Melanie. I'm from Canada. I'm a grateful compulsive overeater. I wanted to go, yeah. How could you be grateful for this? Are you out of your mind? Are you nuts? Why would you be grateful for this? We hate the Braves here, Jan. But the bottom line is that I have changed to the point now where I am grateful to God. I have a lot of friends. Some of my friends are extremely successful in business. And I'm going to let you in on a secret. I have as good a life as any of them and better than most of them. And the reason I have as good a life as them and better than most of them is because this is the easier, softer way. But this is the most fantastic, unbelievable way of life imaginable. This is fantastic. I love the birthday. I loved being in Newark, New Jersey for the Vision for You conference. How fantastic is this? I get to see you guys, most of you, not all of you. I get to see you guys Sunday through Friday in the evenings. We get to commiserate together. We laugh a little bit before the meeting. Then we have our meeting, and then we laugh, in the parking lot or in the Q&A. We have a lot of fun. But when I see the faces of the people that I treasure on those meetings, it makes me feel, even though I'm in my house, it makes me feel at home in a way that nothing has ever made me feel like I was at home since I experienced the deaths of my parents. I didn't move away from home. My home moved away from me. My mother died when I was 22. My father died when I was 24, and I was left alone. I don't have brothers and sisters. I don't have aunts or uncles. I don't have cousins. I don't have any of that. So I was really alone, and I had my friends, but I had God, even though I didn't know that at the time. I also have happiness in that my ankles aren't swollen and my feet aren't swollen, and doctors are not screaming at me at the top of their lungs about how I'm going to die. You're going to die. You're going to die. Well, I am going to die. But now, because of this program, this is something not only to be happy about, but it's something to be grateful for. I now have tasted life. I have been alive to the point where when I go to the end, if it's tonight, if it's tomorrow, I don't know. God doesn't check with me first. If I die in 5 seconds, I have lived because of this program. God brought me to OA. OA brought me to God. We've all heard that. I've experienced it. God brought me to OA. OA brought me to God, and I couldn't be more thrilled. When I was in California, in Los Angeles, we prayed together in the mornings. We did our 11 steps together, most of us, many of us. And it was, to me, and I didn't fill this in on my the little survey. To me, that meant more to me than sitting in a meeting or whatever. That little group of people that I prayed with in the morning. We did it in the outside on the second floor. It was just beautiful. That makes me happy, to pray with people that I love so much. And I'm so grateful just to be sitting there in close proximity to them, because the whole rest of the year, they're just on Zoom. They're in Canada, they're in Brazil, they're in Scotland, they're in here, they're in there. I can't be with them, but here they are. And I was filled with the awe, filled with the power of God. How lucky am I? How lucky am I? Let's continue. The bottom of page 83. We will not regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it. This is probably the most challenging thing for me because I missed out on a lot of decades of my life that I gave to this disease. I missed out on dating, and I missed out on romance, and I missed out on sex, and I missed out on having the kind of career, the kind of real career that would have made me so much more money than what I do for a living. And I could have been retired on a pension. And I keep telling myself what I missed out on and what I don't have. Well, I landed on my feet all right, but I did miss out on a lot of stuff. And every time I do my 11th step in the morning, which is every day, I have to go to page 124. So if you want to, keep your finger on page 83. But if you want to, go to page 124 with me and understand that this is God communicating to me and us about the lost years of this disease. And I hated it. But the only thing I can do is read this every day and try to meditate on this. Here's what it says on page 124. Henry Ford once made a wise remark to the effect that experience is the thing of supreme value in life. That is true only if one is willing to turn the past to good account. We grow by our willingness to face and rectify errors and convert them into assets. The alcoholic's past thus becomes the principal asset of the family, and frequently it is almost the only one. This painful past may be of infinite value to other families still struggling with their problem. We think each family which has been relieved owes something to those who have not, and when the occasion requires, each member of it should be only too willing to bring former mistakes, no matter how grievous, out of their hiding places. Showing others who suffer how we were given help is the very thing which makes life seem so worthwhile to us now. Cling to the thought that in God's hands, the dark past is the greatest possession you have, the key to life and happiness for others. With it, you can avert death and misery for them. Go back to page 83. So I missed out on a lot. I missed out on everything. I went to high school and I watched all my friends play Kiss the Girls in the hallway in the 4 minutes that we had to pass between classes. I missed out on the cafeteria where some of my friends would grab these girls and they would start kissing in the lunchroom. I missed out on that. And I will never be someone's first love. I will never have experienced that summer romance that so many people love. And they make movies about that little summer romance that you had either at camp or wherever. I missed all that stuff and I'll never get it back. I'll never get back 1 minute of it. And it hurts. It hurts because I deserve that just like everyone else did. But I have that word from God that says, not that word, but that thought, cling to the thought that in God's hands, the dark past is the greatest possession you have. With it, you can avert death and misery for others. To show others how I have recovered is the greatest gift I have. How lucky am I in the present tense? And so, yes, it doesn't turn the clock back. I did miss out on those things. But the only thing I can think today is that if I didn't miss out on those things, I might not be in recovery today. I might not be in recovery today. How lucky am I? Very lucky. Because I'm living my life to the fullest. I prayed in Los Angeles with people that now live in Tennessee. And I prayed with people that live in Canada and Brazil and Scotland and California and Illinois and this and wherever it is, Arizona, wherever it is that they are, we came together and it was just magic. How magic are these gatherings today? It's just fantastic. Let's continue. We will comprehend the word serenity and we will know peace. You know how I comprehend the word serenity and I know peace? By waking up in the morning and not feeling the guilt and the shame and the remorse about what I did to myself yesterday by eating food I know damn well I shouldn't eat. And I feel that serenity and I know peace because I didn't inflict pain on you. I don't have anything to make amends for. I didn't write you a bad check. I know serenity and I know peace because I was a chameleon. And no matter what you wanted me to be, I became it as best I could. If you wanted me to be a Democrat, I was a Democrat. If you wanted me to be a Republican, I was a Republican. You want me to like blue, I like blue. You want me to like red, I like red. I was willing to do everything and anything so that you wouldn't abandon me, you would approve of me, and maybe you would encourage other people to stay with me and not abandon me as well. I don't have to do that today. I realize that the ebb and flow of life is not stoppable, that there are people that are going to come to this today and I may never see them again. There are people in my life today that may not be in my life tomorrow or the next day or the next week or the next year, that people are on their path and I'm on my path. And some people are here for a season and some people are here for a reason and some people are here for the long haul. I'm going to the Cubs exhibition game in a couple of weeks with some gentlemen that I met on September 7th, 1959. We're in the little playground, the kindergarten playground of Green School in Chicago. We first met and we sat in the circle together and Mrs. Gieverman was our teacher. I can picture the room now. Room 103, kindergarten. And I was that student crying because my mother went home and I was in school and I was crying for my mom. And we're going to the Cub exhibition game in a couple of weeks. And I have known these men since 1959. How lucky am I? But you people understand me better, much better. You know right where I live. They have a certain sense that I used to be stupid. Now I'm smart. I got smart, and now I stay on my diet. They have no idea what you know. They don't know that that has nothing to do with it. My serenity comes from not trying to make them understand. Did you ever hear the acronym JADE? I don't justify, I don't argue, I don't defend, and I don't explain. I don't justify, I don't argue, I don't defend, and I don't explain. And when they say stupid things to me when we're at the stadium, like, I'm going to get beer and hot dogs. Harlan, you're not getting a hot dog because they know I don't drink beer. When they say stupid things like that to me, if I wanted a hot dog, I could get 100 of them. When they say stupid things like that to me, I can have that peace and that serenity that I don't justify, argue, defend, and explain, that I can still love them. Not that they're not doing that out of meanness, they're doing it out of ignorance, as we just read in Vision this week. They love me. They don't know what they're saying is stupid, but I let them say it. I don't justify. I don't argue. I don't defend. I don't explain. Oh, yeah, thanks for watching my back. I won't have a hot dog. Or I say nothing at all. Nothing. I don't have to say anything. No matter how far down the scale we have gone, we will see how our experience can benefit others. And it's funny that he uses the word scale because he didn't know this in 1938, 39. The book was published on April 10th, 1939. He didn't see OA coming. And the scale, you could use it to say, well, I lost more weight than I could ever have imagined. But it means that no matter how far down your life has gone, you will see how your experience can benefit others. Remember, we just got done reading on page 124, cling to the thought that in God's hands, the dark past is the greatest possession you have. With it, you can avert death and misery for others. No matter how far down the scale I have gone, I can see how my experience can benefit others. Sometimes one of the greatest things I can do for people who are over a certain weight is I can identify how difficult it is to get in and out of a car. I can identify how difficult it is to find clothes. I can identify how uncomfortable they are with swollen ankles, and sometimes they can't sleep in a bed because they can't lay flat and breathe because there's too much fat on their chest. I understand things about this disease, not being able to get into a booth at a restaurant, not being able to get in and out of a car, pissing in your pants, crapping in your pants, the farting, the looking in the mirror and wishing you were dead, the begging to God of, please just kill me because I can't take this anymore. I can't stand the way I feel when I'm in the food. I can't stand the way I look. I just want to die. Please, God, kill me. I understand that. They can't get that identification from anywhere else but from the people that have experienced it. So no matter how far down the scale I have gone, I can see how my experience can benefit others. And then I can share with them, whether it's in person or it's on the phone, I can share with them what I did to get out of that. That it's a one day at a time process, and that when you walk to God, He will run to you. That yes, you look at your body and you think to yourself, I'm never going to be thin no matter what I do. So I'm just going to eat. Don't. You're going to be amazed before you're halfway through too. You're going to have these promises in your life. As much as some of you may think you won't, you will, because these abundant miracles are not just for a certain chosen group. They're for everyone who does the work. Our friend Kim G in New Jersey says, I'm very sorry you're not getting the benefit from the work you didn't do. Do the work, test God, see where you can find Him lacking. You will not find Him lacking. You will not find Him lacking. That feeling of uselessness and self-pity will disappear. I am not useless. I count my blessings every day. Yes, I do get into self-pity sometimes. Oh, I want that house. Oh, I want that car. Oh, I want that girl. Oh, I want that situation. Oh, I want to be 7 and have the knowledge that I have now and go back and do it all over again. I'm not going to get that chance. I'm not going to get that chance. But it will disappear because I will lose interest in selfish things and gain interest in our fellows. I wasn't interested in you. I was only interested in you if you were going to give me money for Reese's Peanut Butter Cups or Almond Joy or Kit Kats or Chips Ahoy. Then I'm interested in you. If you're going to enable me by giving me food or telling me it's not so bad that I'm eating these commodities, now I will be okay with you. But if you're going to criticize me for being ultra morbidly obese, I got no use for you. You're either part of me getting food or you're in my way. And if you're in my way, get the hell out of my way. I'm interested in you because I want to love you. And I'm interested in you because if I can, I will help you. I will do what it takes to help you. If I can share something about my life with you, if I can impart anything from my experience in life to help you, I will do it. I know what it's like to sit on the sidelines and watch life pass me by. I know what it's like to feel like I'd be better off dead. I know what it's like to be lonely. And I think of all the things I've ever had in life that were horrible. Loneliness is about the worst. Sometimes I get lonely, but I have a fellowship, and I have a phone, and I have a computer, and I have Zoom and WhatsApp, and I have everything I could ever need to connect with another person. And my freaking phone doesn't stop. It's like a freaking bookie joint in here. The phone does not stop. Fear of people and of economic insecurity will, oh, wait, I skipped something here. We will lose interest in selfish things and gain interest in our fellows. Self-seeking will slip away. Self-seeking is the manipulation that I use to get my way, to get my script stuck to. I don't have to manipulate you today. I don't have to manipulate you today. Anybody that's supposed to be in my life, whether it's romantic, whether it's a friend, whether it's whatever it is, God is not going to take anything away from me that he wants me to have. And he's not going to put anything in my life that he doesn't want me to have. I chased after women. I chased after this one. I chased after that. A lot of good it did me. A lot of good it did me. It did me nothing. I'm being sarcastic. It didn't do me anything. Just accept what is. Page 416, 417, 418. Acceptance is the key. Acceptance is the key. Our whole attitude and outlook upon life will change. I no longer have to look at you as an enemy. I no longer have to look at you as someone that is more fortunate than I. I don't have to look at you as being someone who's going to make fun of me. I don't have to look at you as a challenge to get you to like me. I knew how to look down at you. I knew how to look up at you. My whole attitude and outlook changes because of steps 5 and 9, the great emancipators. What is it that I can do now that I couldn't do in the disease? I can look you in the eye. It even says that in the 5th step promises. We can look the world in the eye. I couldn't talk to women before. I would run the other way. If you were even slightly attractive, I would run because I was scared to death of you and I knew you were going to hurt me. Some of you in program are gorgeous. I can talk to you. I can joke with you when we're in Los Angeles or we're on Zoom or we're in Newark. I can joke with you. I can pray with you. I can laugh with you. I can cry with you. That's a gift. What a gift. And I can talk to you on a level I never thought possible. I didn't think women had feelings. I didn't think they had fears. I didn't think they had any of that. I just didn't think so. Okay, well, that was then, this is now. So my fear of people and of economic insecurity will leave us. It doesn't say we're not going to have economic insecurity, but my fear of it is unjustified because if I just keep working hard, God will provide. You walk to God, he'll run to you. No matter what you're selling, no matter what you're doing, you work hard, things will happen that you'll be amazed by. You'll be astounded by these things. Don't let anybody ever fool you. God is here. God is alive. God is going to run to you when you walk to him. This is a tough life. This is the toughest addiction there is. I am not minimizing the horror of alcoholism. I am not minimizing the nightmare of drug addiction. I am not minimizing the nightmare of Al-Anon, or of coda or codependency, sex addiction, love addiction, whatever it is. This is the meanest mother on the block. This is the meanest, the most vicious addiction there is. It's the only addiction that you wear, that the world is there to see you. This is the only addiction that you wear. And 30 days, 60 days after these alcoholics or drug addicts cease ingesting these things, most of them look normal. We don't. In most cases, we don't. And so it becomes a matter of patience, a matter of enduring the damage that we've done in the past. And we are called to do that where a lot of other addictions are not in quite that way. Yes, the gambler has financial situations that they have to clear up, and it is the number one addiction for suicide. And the drunk has financial and romantic things. I'm not minimizing the nightmare of those addictions. I'm not. But this is the meanest, most vicious mother on the block. We will intuitively know how to handle situations which used to baffle us. You know what I say to myself sometimes? You're going to be okay. You'll figure it out. And if you can't, you'll call Mary, or you'll call Joe, or you'll call Fred, or you'll call Nancy down in Tennessee. You'll call somebody. And you'll call somebody and we will figure it out together. I had to change an ink cartridge in a jet laser printer. They don't even make those printers anymore, but my billing is very archaic and I have a jet laser printer. How the hell am I going to change this cartridge? I'll tell you how. You take the other one out, you put this one in, you close the lid, and you're good to go. But I was up all night. This is after years of recovery. How am I going to do? How am I going to figure this out? So the thing came on the day it was supposed to, and it said, remove old cartridge, put in this cartridge, turn the printer back on. You're good to go. They didn't make it so that I had to go to Purdue and get an engineering degree to change the cartridge. They made it simple so I could do it. We will suddenly realize that God is doing for us what we could not do for ourselves. I'm in places today that I cannot do. God did for me what I could not do for myself. I'm alive. Doctors have been signing my death warrant since the 1960s. I'm alive. I walked 3 miles 6 days a week. I had to miss a day or two because I'm having a hip problem. But I walked 3 miles yesterday. I'm alive and I'm walking and I'm economically viable. I have a life. I have friends. Do I wish it included certain changes? Yeah, we all do. That's part of being a human being. Do I wish Jan wasn't an Atlanta Braves fan? Of course. I hate to see her walk down that dark path. But the bottom line is still this.
Hello.
I love my life, and we are together, and this is the greatest way of life imaginable. I couldn't imagine anything more glorious than this. What a lucky man I am. How lucky are we to be together here this morning? Don't ever take this for granted, because if you were born before this came about, where would you go? Where would you go? And the answer is to your grave, never knowing that there was a solution to it. Are these extravagant promises? We think not. They are being fulfilled among us, sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly. They will always, the key is always materialize if we work for them. Don't stand there with a chip on your shoulder. I'll use my phone for a chip. Don't stand there with a chip on your shoulder and say, go ahead, God, knock it off. That doesn't work. Trust me, it doesn't. Work your ass off in this program, and miracles will happen for you too. The miracles The promises of this program are not for Harlan and a very select group of people. They are there for you. Do the work. Do what you need to do. I hope that today will help you understand and appreciate what this is we have here today. The fellowship and the program of OA as it's outlined in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. There is no way that most of us would be alive today if it were not for this program. And even if we were alive, is that living in the food? Is that living? I think not. And that's not living. That's not life. That's an existence. That's bullshit. Keep the food. The food is a liar. Those Milk Duds and Chips Ahoy and French fries, they lied. They said, if you eat me, you're going to be happy. No, I wasn't. I never woke up in the morning and said, man, am I glad I ate those cookies last night. Man, am I glad I ate that ice cream yesterday. I never got up and said that, even in my disease. I got up in the morning and I said, shit, why did I do that? And then I would go out and do it again. That's crazy. That's the disease. The main problem of the alcoholic centers in his mind rather than in his body. And the mind would not shut up until I ate the food. And then after eating the food, the physical allergy took over and I couldn't stop eating the food. I don't care how old you are. I don't care if you're 8 or 80. It's never too late to do God's will. It's never too late to work this program. It's never too late to get that life that you so richly deserve. Is it going to be like lives of the rich and famous? No, but it's going to be the lives of the spiritually healthy and the people like yourself that have been saved from shipwreck, where democracy pervades from steerage to captain's table. You will have experienced something with us that only we understand. Okay, next week, we're going to do step 10, and we're going to examine the step 10 process and the step 10 promises. So that is going to be something that you're going to hopefully enjoy. I hope today was good. I hope today was informative. I never quite know, because when you're in a room with live people, you can tell by their faces, if they're kind of getting it, if they're kind of, into what you're doing, what you're saying, so on and so forth. But this is a little harder because most of you are not seen and some of you are. Okay, let me just write this down. I'm going to give this back to Danny. Danny, I'm going to give it back to you.